Bye.
Hello. Hi. Hello. Good to see you. Tusk Act, Ark, Hottie, Josie, Rosie, Posey, Mecha, Dragon, Redaptive, Crazy, Skinny Bones, Two Village, Mason Man's Vash, Sombeam, Peace 72, etc., etc. Sir Glizzy Hands, thank you for the 4 months. Koi Cadaver. Was that your name, to be honest? Sir Glizzy Hands, before this stream? Or did you perhaps make that in reference to a meme around here? Bud Rot, thank you for the 14. I Cow, thank you for the 6 months. Vulcan, thank you for the 21. Walker, thank you for the 10. Hey, Big A. 10 months of staring at those inhuman glizzies that you call fingers. For real, though, I always love your content and I look forward to your stream. Don't open with the first thing. I get this too often. Most DMs I get always open with some fucking glizzy shit and then say, no, for real, though. It's like, just skip the first part. It's not, you don't need it. It's like, it's almost like you're doing it to make me comfortable, and it doesn't. And that doesn't help me at all. It doesn't disarm me. It's like, hey, glizzy, whatever. But on the real, though. And it's like, or is that for my benefit? Because I don't prefer that. I like when you just open with the nice stuff about the content. I'm looking for a job right now. I always look forward to your stream. Sorry, he had more of a message. I'm looking for a job right now, and your stream helps me keep informed of the economy so I don't sound dumb in interviews. If you don't want to sound dumb in interviews, be careful about saying inhuman glizzies that you call fingers. You know what I'm saying? That's the part they're gonna pick up on that. That's not gonna help at all. Get that out of your lexicon. For now, being your funniest chatter is enough, though. Yes, of course. Congratulations on being my funniest chatter. You probably are. It's a low bar. All right. Let's make sure I'm all set here. How much do we have to pay you if we use MM to sound smart to our friends? There's no charge for that. However, I just got a DM from a guy who made a burner account to DM me the following message. I'm going to read it to you. Yes, he created a burner account and DM me the following. Hello, Atrioc. I took your presentation about China and Country Garden, bar for bar, word for word. I had the presentation today and it went great. So thank you for letting me plagiarize it. Full stop. No other messages in the account. I feel like I am owed something in that case. that feels crazy. Bro is the Wall Street Journal. Oh my God, dude. I am not kidding. That I got was it New York Times or Wall Street Journal? I swear to God, there was a headline today that was like China's real estate crisis just got even worse. And I was like, oh shit, I better read that. Maybe it's interesting. And it was literally them covering exactly what I covered on Country Garden like almost a month ago now. It was like, bro, it's literally the exact same thing, just a fucking month late. I was like, this is nothing in here is new. So that shit was shocking. Andy's 189, thank you for the tier 1. Ghoulie Poolie, thank you for the 18 months. Had to reschedule multiple stakeholder meetings for this, but fuck it, we ball. Okay. I mean, good point. You should. I don't care what kind of stakeholder meetings you have. They should be rescheduled. All right, let's get professional here. I can't be having the chain hanging low, dude. This is a official Marketing Monday. Are you gonna play I Expect You to Die 3 soon? Yes, I am. Absolutely. When does it come out? Like this weekend or something? Atrioc, you don't have a wait, yes I do. I have a bachelor's degree. A bachelor's of science in the most scientific field of all, marketing. Oh. STEM Lord. Yeah, that makes me, oh no, that makes me a STEM Lord. Schmendrick Lamar, thank you for the 4 months. Good to see you. I think Schmendrick Lamar is the guy that I spoke. Oh, no, never mind. Never mind, I take it back. Fine, thank you for the 3 months. Masturi Pizza, thank you for the 2 months. No Aim, thank you for the 2 months. TV Man, thank you for the 14 months. I copied I copied your last "What's Up Beijing" for a blog post I had to do for school. Okay. There's multiple of you that have just verbatim ripped off my videos for schoolwork. That's good. Good to know. I guess I don't care. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. Not a big, those get off my ass, bro. Why do you have to do a blog post for school is the real question. What kind of curriculum has you writing blogs in 2023? Is that better or worse than ChatGPT? I guess it's no different. It's a little, I mean, you're kind of like a hipster. Like, you use artisan human crafted plagiarism. Instead of letting the robots take the plagiarist jobs, you know what I'm saying? You're doing organic farm to table plagiarism, which is really more impressive. KJ Mack, thank you for the 7 months. I guess that's interesting. I never thought about YouTube as a great source of plagiarism. It's like fantastic. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, because, you know, I mean, there just wasn't as many detailed video essays on any topic. But like, if I want to make a presentation on, I don't know, fucking crisis in Somalia or something, there's like 50 videos that people have done deep dives on with sources and articles and shit. You can just scroink it. That's crazy. Does it help YouTube performance if you release the video minutes before going live? No. I do that because the last thing I do before I go live is go, oh fuck, I need to make a thumbnail. that is the process. I get to my computer and I'm like, fuck, I need a thumbnail, and then I crank out a thumbnail, and then I try to do a thumbnail stream. Judgment, thank you for the prime. Dale Slate, thank you for the 4 months. X Charlton, thank you for the 15. BG Lecker, thank you for the prime. Hey, thank you. Anything goes for the first time chatter and sub. Thank you. How's the Ponzi iceberg going? It's still going. I'm adding graphics and everything. It's going to be fancy. But it's not done yet. Actually, all the research is done. It's just I wanted to make it look nice. You have multiple editors, but you make your own thumbnails? Bro, have you ever seen Quack make a thumbnail? Oh, guy, Quack, you're in chat. Show him some of your classic thumbos, bro. Fucking 0% click-through. 0% click-through. Bro, I'm going to throw a brick through your window. Be the first window clicked through with something you've done, bro. That's all I'll say. Because that shit does not convert. That shit does not convert. If I don't know, can my name be on the brick? Let's not talk about this. Let's not talk about throwing bricks through my windows. Let's ease up on that line of discussion. Bricks through windows, you know, it doesn't make a ton of sense to be talking about. Okay. Hey, Big A, I published another song for the community. Would love if you had to listen. I would love to listen, but today's not the best day for it. If you send me that tomorrow, I promise I will. Or maybe after Marketing Monday. But I'm already starting a little late, and I want to start here by, let's say 8:20. Within like 5 minutes, I want to be able to go. So, a brick of Coke. Oh, there'll be some cocaine discussion here in a second, actually. UPC brother of the gifted. What else did I want to mention? Oh, do I have time before we start? Fuck it. I think we do. Oh God, it's so unrelated, but I have to mention it. I have to mention it. So recently, before I left for the wedding, I was gone this weekend at Toph's wedding. It was a very beautiful affair. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know if there's any crazy stories other than I went shopping with Lud at a mall nearby before the wedding to like get a belt and stuff. And, you know, at my wedding, Lud wore mismatched pants and sneakers. And he was in my party. He was in like the groomsmen party. And like it stood out, right? Whatever, no big deal. He also tied my tie, so he got a pass. But at Toph's wedding, he also showed up the same thing. Except this time, we were shopping for a belt, and this old lady comes up to me and she taps me on the shoulder and she goes, I don't want to be rude, but you should let your friend know there's a and she just makes a line in his pants. And I look and he's buying a belt and he's got a huge fucking rip in the pants. Like just fucking underwear showing. And instead of buying new pants, he just goes, I think the jacket will cover it. And if he stands the right way, the jacket covers it. He's a millionaire, bro. Bro is a literal multi-millionaire. And he shows up in sneakers, ripped pants to Toph's wedding. Thankfully, he's not part of the party, so it wasn't that big a deal. That was fun. But the overall thing was really fun. I fucking love Toph. Me and him sang Dead and Gone, which has been our song for, I mean, it sounds like we're dating. But we've had a song for like 10 years now. We've always karaoke Dead and Gone. I do the JT part, and it's fucking awesome. And we did it. We sang it in front of everybody, and it was cool. It was great. It was a good time. But that's not what I want to talk about. I just wanted to say that was a good wedding. That's it. There's really I'm not going to monetize too much of that wedding for content because there wasn't much. Just a good time. What I want to say is an apology to chat. I want to apologize formally to chat, and I rarely do this. But recently, you guys told me about a guy named Glorb who makes AI SpongeBob rap songs. And I said, you guys are fucking stupid. That is a stupid thing. Shut the fuck up. And then one person linked me someone else's AI rap song that sucked. And I was like, I'm never looking at that shit. And then because our phones are spying on us, our phones, through the cameras and the speakers, I got recommended a Glorb fucking track on my fucking YouTube sidebar. And so I was like, fuck it, I'll click it. And I clicked the following. Okay? I clicked the following track.
Breaking news today is the Chum Bucket has been riddled with bullets in a drive-by shooting. Emergency responders have reported one female victim. And one thing is for certain, Bikini Bottom is no longer safe.
Red bottom sipping purpleine. Bitch, I'm gon' ride for my fucking team. Paint and whack, yo fucking fiend. Yeah, I run the game. What's my name? Eugene.
Ayo, boss, what I gotta do to them odds? Shoot the kill, grab my grill, bitch is hot. I got that burner to his mouth, pop rocks. I'm blowing bubbles at his head until they pop. Carry you in my glass, bitch, damn my boy a snail, but you know he keep it hot. This is for my city, cause I rep Bikini Bottom. My David B. Goliath hit that when I pop. Cause I'm only doing real shit, I don't do no sad raps. We got that kill switch stuffed up like it's Baghdad. Patrick, he was brainwashed, but we got him back yet.
SpongeBob, what are you drilling?
Cause my boss is Mr. Swagger, yeah.
Red bottom sipping purpleine. Bitch, I'm gon' ride for my fucking team. Paint and whack, yo
That's insane.
I run the game.
It's insane.
Eugene. Red bottom sipping purpleine. Bitch, I'm gon' ride for my fucking team.
Well, most important thing that I found out is that the lyrics are not AI. The lyrics are 100% human handcrafted, and they go dumb hard, and then he just AI'd the voice.
Paint and whack, yo fucking fiend. Yeah, I run the game. What's my name? Eugene.
Cut a bitch off like the hash slinging slasher. Karen pissed off cause a squid wouldn't smash her. At the bubble bowl backstage like an actor. She want my full worm like it came from Alaska. Get the fuck away. I thought I told you, bitch, I'm smoking kelp up to my fucking face.
So true.
I do this shit like every fucking day. Squiddy corner kill straight to the chopper gun on the way. Oh, I see your bodies falling. And dead ops when Judy's calling. Red dot and pipeline pouring. The lights up and square with no remorse. I am him.
Red bottom sipping purpleine.
So
I'm gon' ride for my
anyway,
Paint and whack, yo fucking fiend. Yeah, I run the game. What's my name? Eugene.
it was a lot harder than I expected. Like, shockingly. Shockingly, bro. And so I wanted to apologize because, I mean, that was definitely worth watching. It was definitely worth watching. That being said, I still can't, like, when I read the comments, I still lose faith. Like, whenever the lean sipping squid with no remorse, I am him. That line gives me chills every time. Chills, bro. Literal chills. I like how Mr. Krab carries the beat while SpongeBob and Squidward add the main content to the song. Kind of like how the boss manages the restaurant while the employees do nearly all the work. It's the same guy. It's the same guy. It's one guy. Oh, YouTube comments fucking slay me, dude. Anyway. Looking at this song now, I can't unsee the impact it actually brought on Dankton. And this song constantly brings me chills now. How could the Krusty Crew do this to an innocent soul? Based. Anyway, that shit, it's fire. What can I say? That's all I can say is that it's fire. And as you'll notice from my sidebar, I watched like all of them. I went and I watched all of them, bro. Now I've got the fucking lore. There's a this is Tupac versus Biggie back again, dude. Actually, I only watched like 3 of them, but still, it was incredible. So yeah, that was just a full apology. Now I think it's time. We gotta jump into wins and fails. So give me one more second. Watch the new Atrioc video. Just go live and watch the video I just uploaded. Okay. Let me make sure. The thing is, I'm very happy with this week's wins and fails. There's a lot of fucking stuff. I just want to make sure I got it all. Okay. Damn, I feel like I got it all. I feel like I got it all. But I ain't sure that I got it all. Do you know what I'm saying? Shit. There was so many stories this week. I had to cut to the ones I thought were most relevant and interesting. So bear with me, but this is it's a tight one. Run ads. Oh yeah, we'll get the ads out the way. I saw a note in my email or something. They're gonna give you more control over the fucking. Like right now, it only lets me snooze it 3 times and then it fucks off. Yeah, okay. Let me run the ad. Just get it out of the way, and then I'm gonna use that 1 minute to make sure all my slides are in order. So just. Twitch is going to improve ads experience copium? Definitely not. But experience for me. For me. I am just trying to get the fucking bounty board. That's what my goal is, the bounty board. I am doing what my partner manager says to get the bounty board, and then I am reevaluating the whole system. Ad song? Okay, I'll play it while I do this. Just give me a second. Sorry, you got to bear with me. Bro, obviously, you saw the fly in my nose. That was not cocaine. I didn't disguise a bump of coke as a fucking fly to get into my nose in the middle of a stream. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. However, I need you to keep that cocaine spirit in mind as we roll into the show. But actually, I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. 1 is get ready to say yep, Coke a lot. And number 2, what I need you to do is tag yourself in the Marketing Monday intro as we begin. and gentlemen, welcome to Marketing Monday, Wins and Fails, a show that covers all of the interesting stories in the last week in marketing and business. And this one's a doozy to start off with. I'm going to give a win to everybody in chat that likes to spam the words "Yep, Coke," because you're going to be doing it for the next 5 minutes. Wait, make sure this is all. Sorry, hold up. Spam "Yep, Coke" while I get this 100% aligned. There we go. Okay, perfect. Yep, Coke. Ladies and gentlemen, if I were to ask you what the #1 export of Colombia is, what would you tell me? What would you think it is? A lot of Coke, some horse meat, some bananas, some paper. Well, you're all wrong and offensive. Actually, it's oil, of course. like many global South countries, it's oil, okay? Oil is the #1 export. That is for the next 2 or so months. And then it's going to be cocaine. Cocaine is on pace to pass oil and become Colombia's #1 export as a country due to incredible recent growth in the amount of coca leaves produced in the country. See, back in January, we entered what you could be called a golden age of cocaine across the globe. As demand increased, people had more demand across the globe. And for a long time, the military in Colombia did a lot of measures to try and stop people from growing coca leaves in the country. Namely, they had a U.S.-sponsored thing where they would fly and put like toxins that killed all plants and fly them from planes over coca farms, which made it very hard to maintain consistent coca leaf production. But that stuff phased out starting in 2015. And since then, there's been a massive boom in farmers in Colombia starting to grow coca leaves for cocaine. And what happened after that is very interesting and a case study in like market dynamics, cartels, and monopoly. Because almost instantly, the supply grew rapidly, absolutely rapidly. And you ended up with more coca leaf than ever before. Colombia became, it does like 80% of the world's export. Let me actually get my stat correctly. 60% of the world's cocaine all comes from Colombia, up 24% this year. They've been making absolutely insane amounts, okay? And it goes all over the world. And so the revenue goes up in the country. Again, a huge portion, like almost like 3% of the whole economy is reliant entirely on cocaine in Colombia. Like if cocaine doesn't get sold, Colombia is in a disaster. Okay? And there's plenty of negative effects, a lot of violence and things that happen with them, but that's what's happening right with the economy. And so the supply has gone way up. Now, normally, when the supply of something goes way, way up, the price goes down. But in fact, only a few powerful cartels control the ability to turn the coca leaf from cocaine in Colombia through all of the, militaries and police of the world and border restrictions and get them into the end consumer in America and Europe. And so because they control that power, things have played out kind of differently. Now, first thing I want to tell you is extremely unique happening right now in Ecuador. So Colombia and Peru had a massive boom in cocaine production. And you can see Colombia here, cocaine production. Peru. Now, Ecuador is a banana producing country. They don't produce cocaine. And they have one of the largest banana exporting economies. And because of that, because they produced and exported bananas for so long, they have great shipping lanes and ports in Ecuador. Like their economy is built to get bananas onto boats to America and other countries. Now, because cocaine is worth much more than bananas and is blowing up in these two countries, they've suddenly basically invaded Ecuador. There is currently like a soft invasion happening of Ecuador ports, factories, banana plantations to stuff it all full of cocaine. %30 of global banana trade is in Ecuador. but it's become the perfect place to transport huge quantities of cocaine. So what you're seeing is like insane briberies played to Ecuadorian police. You're seeing banana plantations held at gunpoint, and they're just stuffing bananas and banana crates full of cocaine.
For the last, 20
like
years,
billions of dollars of cocaine.
That's what.
Well, let's skip this because this is. And of course, the negative repercussions are immediate. Murders up, violent deaths up, crime up. The consequences of Ecuador not even having cocaine production within their country is up, which is insane. You're seeing cocaine producers buy legitimate businesses in Ecuador to set up cocaine smuggling facilities. Now, first thing you're thinking is that people they're not consuming cocaine in Ecuador or Peru or Colombia, really. In fact, the prices there are so cheap. The irony of it is you can't even give cocaine away there. Again, the amount that the production has increased is insane. There's actually too much cocaine being created in these countries. People don't even want it. But because of the economics of cartels, oh, by the way, I just want to wait. Before I go into that, before I go into the economics of cartels, I want to talk about where the demand is coming from. Now, part of it comes from America, but America's cocaine use is mostly flat except for these states, which is DC and Vermont. I don't know who specifically, but yes, these are where cocaine is increasing in America. But actually, the major rise in cocaine consumption has been coming from Europe. Europe has been dramatically increased the amount of cocaine they're consuming since 2017, which coincides with this massive boom in supply. America always has a ton of cocaine, but it's mostly flat. Belgium going crazy, 300% up. I don't know. If anyone in chat is from Belgium, lay off, dude. But anyway, the economics are what's weird here is because turns out that like certain other industries that have sort of cartel or monopoly pricing, increases in supply that would normally lower cost have not been passed on to the consumer. And what you'll find is if you look at the stats, it costs $2.44 a gram of cocaine in Colombia. By the time it reaches the end user, it is $175 a gram. And no matter how much prices go down, the fact that the cartels control the supply, they're just not passing along the pricing. They're just keeping the profit difference. And the reason I brought this up first, the reason I thought this was so interesting, is because when you say this happens in the world of drugs, people understand. They say, oh, the cartels are the bad guys. They get it. The cartels are not good people. They're not going to pass along the price increase. But nobody seems to really get it when you point out that the exact same dynamic happens in any industry where a few key players control the whole supply. in things like groceries, where, yes, sometimes there is legitimate inflation. In fact, the government has printed insane amounts of money. There is real inflation. But sometimes, if you look at their profit and loss statements, their costs have not increased. And yet they are still passing along increases in price as if that's what happened. And so I set this all up. I talked about cocaine and this very interesting story coming out of Colombia to set up a larger story about what's going on right now with Google, which is going to give my fail of the week. All right, let me give a fail to Google. Because this week is the beginning of the largest antitrust suit in tech in all of our lifetimes, as the United States government has officially begun a months-long antitrust suit against Google for monopoly practices. And so I want to give a quick, we'll watch this quick video set up.
Happening today, the Justice Department is taking Google to court. Government officials accuse the company of antitrust violations. Eyewitness News reporter Irene Cruz joins us here in studio with the details on this. Irene.
Yeah, Rachel, good morning. The federal trial is expected to be a long legal showdown and could reshape Google as we know it. The Justice Department and dozens of states accuse the platform of abusing its dominance. They allege Google hurt competition by paying billions of dollars to developers and phone makers like
Oh, shit. Sorry. Boomer.
and could abusing its dominance. Google hurt competition by paying billions of dollars to developers and phone makers like Apple, LG, Motorola, and Samsung. Well, those deals supposedly made Google search the default option for millions of people. The complaint alleges it accounts for, quote, roughly 80% of the general search queries in the U.S. Google claims they compete on quality and improvements and that they did not illegally restrict competition.
So it's interesting. We'll go into it more. But first, I want to say about where I found that video. Where did I get that video about Google versus U.S. biggest antitrust trailer? I found that searching on Google for a YouTube hosted video hosted on Google. And what I wanted to get into is that, listen, I think when we do antitrust on big tech, it is uniquely polarizing for consumers because we generally like Google. Google does not increase prices on us. And they do their job fairly well, although the quality has gone down recently. And it's interesting because there are benefits to scale with something like Google that makes the product better. And so the reason we have to be wary is because it's not that we're getting milked on prices so much. It's more of that we don't know what we could be getting. You know what I'm saying? The possibility of competitors that are better on things like privacy, of competitors that are better on things like more accurate niche search results, better on things like, better advertising split for videos, for creators. All those things don't exist because things are good enough now and Google entrenches their monopoly. So there's possibilities of things we could have that are better that we never see. And we're happy enough with things are now, which is how they sort of skate by. And so far, the trial is only 1 weekend. Not a lot of things have happened, all right? It's not there's many more months to come. But the two key things I've seen from the trial so far are, one, this leaked email from the earlier days of Google when they started to get really entrenched and start paying $10 billion to Apple and LG and Samsung to make sure that Google was always the default and no one else could be considered. And they've learned from previous antitrust cases. Google was ready to go. So they have made all of their senior staff take training to avoid saying anything in an email that could show up and look bad on them later. So you can't say dominance. You can't say market share. They have like code words for everything. They can't say scale or network effects or leverage or lockup or because, there's so many great quotes from previous antitrust lawsuits where they find emails where the guy's like, yeah, we're going to quash our competition beneath our boot by squelching that out of the market. It's like all that stuff they've been hiding. Avoid metaphors involving wars or sports or winning or losing. This is all to avoid getting caught in antitrust. And they've also made all their senior staff basically use incognito chat mode, which means when they talk to each other via chat, all of the messages are self-deleted within 24 hours. And they found a very interesting email from the CEO of Google where he was like in a very, disgusting thing that be antitrust related and chimed in and said, hey, turn off chat history. And said you have to CC our lawyers on all emails, even when they're not needed, so you can shield the contents under attorney-client privilege. So you listen, I'm not saying Google's guilty here. I'm saying they have a lot of very guilty-looking behaviors to make sure that no one comes in. And then the lawyer came in with a pretty cold line where he said, this is the lawyer for the government, said they turned the history off, Your Honor, so they could rewrite it here in this courtroom. Which is pretty based. That's a Giga Chad line. So, all right. So it's a strong case. But the reason I want to talk to you guys is because I know a lot of people, when they hear stuff like this, they might support it in theory, but they're secretly thinking, I like Gmail, I like YouTube, I like Google. And I do too. And so I want to say that the risks from this for the consumer are very low. And in general, being supportive of antitrust has always been good for the consumer in the end. So let's talk about that. So this article is called "The Google Trial is Going to Rewrite Our Future." And I want to go back through some of the antitrust trials in the past. So in the 60s and 70s, there was a big antitrust trial against AT&T, which controlled basically all the phone lines in America. And they would charge consumers insane prices for things like long distance calls between states and things like that. Anyway, the government wanted to break that up, and they did. one of the last times we had a big antitrust breakup. They broke AT&T up into 7 companies. They ended up becoming Verizon and Quest and CenturyLink, and they all became different companies. And listen, we already have a bad enough problem with internet providers. Imagine if it was only one. But when they did this, it caused the ability for other companies to build services around phone lines easier. They couldn't do it without going through AT&T before. Now they could. And this created the rise of the open internet. Like, people were able to use modems like home modems to connect online, and it allowed tons of internet companies to be created and flourish. Like, that happened unintentionally because they tried to regulate AT&T for something else. IBM in the 80s was a monopoly on all computer hardware. And the government went to antitrust regulate that. They wanted to stop them from basically having all this market. Now, this lawsuit was not successful, but because IBM was so scared of antitrust, they unbundled hardware and software. Basically, you wouldn't get all their software automatically included with when you buy IBM hardware. And this allowed other software companies to get created, like Microsoft and Apple, who at the time were starting personal computing companies. Like, these companies would not exist if IBM could have crushed them before. So that was the benefit. So Microsoft and Apple came up from that. But then Microsoft and Apple got fucking huge. So in the 90s, there was antitrust against Microsoft, okay? 1995. Bill Gates was brought in front of the government. There was a huge antitrust lawsuit, and they were trying to break up Microsoft. Now, that was also not successful. But because of the lawsuit, Microsoft was scared. All right, they had to pull back on some of their most egregious competitive things. And so when a young upstart company called Google showed up, they didn't crush them by using their 95% market share with Internet Explorer to make their only search default. And so, like, antitrust created Microsoft, it created Google, and now we are seeing what happens when it goes back and they sue Google, okay? And so what I'm saying is, you might think Google is great right now, but as we have noticed in the past few years, search quality has not been improved. It's been stagnant for a very long time. People now search for their topic plus Reddit, or they use TikTok to search, because Google search quality has been stagnant. It's not terrible, it's just not improving because they have no reason to improve. And if we put a little bit of threat on them through the power of antitrust to break up a monopoly, generally what happens is it creates a ton of new innovation. I mean, we're in an era where things like AI search are coming down the pike. And giving all of control to that to the dominant player, Google, is probably not going to be as good as allowing new competitors to thrive. So in my mind, I think in general, no matter what your like feeling on Google products is, they're not going to go anywhere. And supporting antitrust has generally proved good for consumers in the past. Now, the second thing that happened in this trial is that is that I want to give a fail to Bing, because they just got shit on. Pretty much the whole defense from Google. Like, the government would say a bunch of stuff about, spending $10 billion, whatever. And then Google would just say, Bing fucking sucks. The entire Google defense is that, like, hey, what are we going to do? Bing fucking sucks. And I mean, they're right, but that's not really the point. It was the whole defense. They're trying to do kind of what Activision Blizzard did, which is make it all about Sony and not about cloud. Google's trying to make it all about Bing and Bing's failures and saying, like, well, you know what? If they competed, that'd be fine. But it's not our fault they suck. And so that's their defense. And again, it's leading to constantly. Almost every Google witness is just talking about how bad Bing is. Which is funny, but sad if you are a Microsoft CEO who's also going to be at the trial. He's going to have to hear that. So we'll see. Anyway, that's my thing. Now, I want to go a different direction here and talk about something that I found out that is pretty new. And I want to give a huge win here to Silicon Valley, okay? I don't want to seem like I'm shitting on Google and Silicon Valley. I want to give them a big win. Because I don't know if you guys know about payday loans. But payday loans are yuck. They're old. They're a concept of, somebody doesn't get their paycheck for 2 weeks. They need money now for an emergency. So they take out a payday loan and then they get charged insane interest and basically leads to a cycle of debt. Payday loans, boo. But now I want to give a big win to something way cooler that Silicon Valley came up with, something totally different. And that is called wage access apps. Woo! This entirely new concept straight out of Silicon Valley that has been taking the world by storm called wage access apps. Earned wage access from companies like EarnIn that I'm sure some of you have used that allow you to get paid the minute you leave work. Now, these are fucking awesome. This is a dub. It's not buy now, pay later. It's an entirely new thing. This is about people who have to pay to get their paychecks early, which sounds a lot like a payday loan, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not. It's an entirely new thing. I have found this new app called EarnIn and others like it have been blowing up. So this stops at 2020, but the real number is now like 16 billion for 2023 transaction volume. And basically what it is it's an app that you plug in your hours and where you work and what you make, and it allows you to draw on your cash early and basically cash out. And that sounds fine, except for two things. One, they charge a tip. They ask for a tip, but it's a default tip equal to 10% of the cash advance. So if you want to get like $100 early, they'll take $10. Now that's on there. But also, more insidiously, is that if you want the money right now, which of course you do, nobody would use this money or they use this app to get it like in a day. If they want it right now, they also charge a $3.99 lightning fee. So, it sounds like a small amount, but getting charged something like $14 to take out 100 is insane. It's insane. And they're nickel and diming people to get access to their wages early. And it's rebranded payday loans that are preying on people's inability to make certain payments before the 2-week paycheck comes in, which sucks, which is not cool. Even though they advertise as no cost, no fee. They say it's no cost, no fee. Everyone gets bought in, they get hooked on it, and they get locked into a cycle. And if you're nickel and diming hundreds of thousands of people consistently, it's a good business for you, but kind of shitty for them. And if you look at the math, again, they'd be better off putting it on a credit card, because a credit card average APR interest is 20%. But the average for earned wage access apps that request tips is 334%, and the one without tips is 331%. So it's only a tiny percent better than payday loans. It's just a tiny percent better than payday loans, but with an entirely different rebrand, and it seems clean and cool because it's on an app, and people are falling for it. Now, I thought that was bad enough, but it's also like you can just not do it, whatever. But then, when dollar signs appear, other companies try to muscle in. And the next phase of this has been extra interesting to me. And that is that like companies are now starting to create earned wage access apps for their own employees. For example, Uber now added this to their drivers, where you can get paid early on money you've earned driving up to 5 times daily, but they charge you nearly $1 per cash out. Why? You've already earned it. Bro, if you drive and the money's been paid and it's done, you shouldn't have to wait for a paycheck. If you want your money now and they want to give it to you, that's a great feature. Why would they charge you? So they're charging their own. So basically they're just reducing wages. They have their money and they're not giving it to you unless you pay them a fee, which is shocking. So, and Uber's not the only one doing it. So where I found most insidious was Walmart, which has this app called Instapay. And again, Instapay allows you to say, I need a certain amount. It'll deduct it automatically from your paycheck. But you have to buy like the plus version to get it, which is $6. Like, this is all a way to just pay their workers less. The thing is, like, it's if they're going to give you access to your money early, I get it. All right, that's cool. But if they're going to charge you for it, it's really just paying you less. Which is shocking to me. And I don't know if any of you work at a company where they have this. I mean, this is more widespread than I thought. Walmart has it. Domino's has it. Like, a lot of companies have it. I don't know if Target has it maybe. I don't know if anyone's done it. But in general, what they've found is that, the 2-week pay period system that America's had for a very long time, that is not common globally, by the way, is very hard for the average worker to, like, bills don't apply in the same schedule as you get paid. So sometimes things come up and like you need the money early that you've already earned. And everyone is jumping up to give you that, but only with insane fees. And it's basically a way to pay your workers less than minimum wage. But what's worse than that is that, like, this isn't just a bonus for Walmart employees. They're actually buying the app. I saw this headline: Walmart's fintech arm acquires 2 firms in financial services super app quest, which is a horrible headline. Why does Walmart have a fintech arm, bro? Why do we need Walmart fintech? So they've acquired more of these apps to try and build some kind of super app for their employees, where all of their banking and financial services can be done through their employer, who is going to take fees every step of the way, which again is just really a roundabout way of paying employees less. What's fintech? Financial technology. So yeah, my overall concern here is that this stuff is just like kind of like my sort of crusade against Klarna and Afterpay and buy now pay later. These wage access apps are just scammy. They're just, people I think they're something different than payday loans, but they're not. They're just essentially a way to gloss over and glamorize high interest loans for people that need money now. And if you can't avoid them, you probably should. But, you know, I think a lot of you in the chat have a similar reaction, which is kind of like, fuck these guys. You're a little bit fed up. You know, like, this all seems kind of annoying. Well, I don't think you're the only ones in the world feeling that. Because our next topic and our next win of this month, or this week, I'm sorry, is we had a pretty big strike. There was a pretty massive strike a few days ago. Does anyone know what it was? Does anyone have any idea what industry just had a massive strike? You're all wrong. It was Corsair controllers. Corsair controller factories just had a massive strike because they are sick of making these $250 controllers piece by hand and getting paid pennies. Corsair's warehouse workers make pennies compared to CEOs millions, and they're fighting back. Union election. They are joining. We're not asking to bankrupt the company. We just want a little piece of the pie. So when we go home, we can pay for groceries and we can pay for our kids to go to after school program. I think that's pretty fair to ask. And I think a lot of people are asking the same question as costs rise for housing, food, rent, etc. Housing, food, rent, transportation. People are asking like how they can afford to keep up. And then they're finally organizing into some kind of labor movement to get the wage increases that we haven't had since the 70s. So they did. So the Corsair workers have been doing that. That was kind of a joke though, because the real strike, of course, has been from the United Auto Workers, which is one of the biggest strikes in like 20 years. Since 2001, and before that, since like the 80s, we haven't had a strike this big. All right, the United Auto Workers have all joined on a strike against the big 3 auto companies. Unprecedented strike against all 3 bigger automakers. This is Ford, GM, and Stellantis, which make all of the brands you see here. Okay? Huge part of the domestic car market, combining to, I don't know, over a third. 13.4, 16, and 12%. And there's a strike from their workers. I want to play a clip. One second. Let me play a clip. Bro, I swear I got this clip and it's like so ready. Oh, here it is. Got it. No. We're good. Don't boomer me.
For the first time in our history, we will strike all 3 of the big 3 at once. We are using a new strategy, the stand-up strike. We will call on select facilities, locals, or units to stand up and go on strike. This strategy will keep the companies guessing. It will give our national negotiators maximum leverage and flexibility in bargaining. And if we need to go all out, we will. This is our generation's defining moment. The money is there, the cause is righteous, the world is watching, and the UAW is ready to stand up. This is our defining moment. Thank you.
Big speech from John Fain, head of the UAW, basically talking about this massive strike against the big three, trying to get better wages. Oh, shit. So I wanted to see what the CEOs had to say in response. I wanted to see what the CEOs had to say in response, you know, because they're all being quizzed. The CEOs of these big three companies are being quizzed about what they're going to do about this strike and what it means. And I wanted to see what they had to say. So we had a little supercut prepared.
But I will tell you that we have put on the table increases, double-digit increases that we've never seen before, 20+%. If you include COLA, it's even larger than that.
But that's not 40, what they're
right,
asking
and
for.
I'm saying 40% will put us out of business. We would lose $15 billion. We would have to cut people, close plants. What's the good of that?
You heard the CEO of Ford say that it would bankrupt them if they met your demands. What do you think of that?
I think it's a joke. You know what? They could double our pay right now. Labor, the cost of labor that goes into a vehicle is 5% of the vehicle. They could double our wages, and they could not raise the price of vehicles, and they would still make billions of dollars. It's a lie like everything else that comes out of their mouth.
Jim, make sure everyone's taken care of, but make sure everyone has a future. Those words ring in my ears every night I go to sleep.
It would take just somebody like me 40 hours a week, no overtime, 365 years to make what our CEO made at Stellantis. I just now, after 8 years in August, I just now reached top pay, and I just now started making, I think, $1 more than what my mom made when she retired. In 1997.
You're getting a 34% pay increase over.
First of all, thankfully, prices have not gone up since 1997, okay? We can all agree that prices of everything, healthcare, food, cars, are the same as they were in 1997. So $1 more is pretty damn good, okay? So let's not get angry here. Let's not get mad at these CEOs. Now, thankfully, I'm sure their pay is also staying stagnant.
Pay increase over 4 years, and you're offering 20% to employees right now. Do you think that's fair? Well, I think when you look at the overall structure and the fact that 92% is based on performance, and you look at what we've been doing of sharing in the profitability when the company does well, I think we've got a very compelling offer on the table, and that's the focus I have right now.
So they're talking about Mary Barra, CEO of GM's pay package, which is $28-30 million. And her response is that most of that is stock. So I only get paid when the company does well. $29 million pay package, which again is 360 times what her median employee makes. And I think for a lot of us, especially people who are maybe younger in my audience, I think this is kind of normal. Like things have always been this way. CEOs always just make an insanely amount more than the average employee. But that is not the case. It's a relatively recent innovation in America, which is that like somewhere recently, all of the money in a company started going to the very top management. And I wanted to know, like, you know, is her pay tied to performance? I mean, maybe that makes sense. Maybe because CEOs have to take more risk. They got to lead the company. They got to be there for good times and bad. If it's tied to performance, maybe that makes sense. So I wanted to look into it. Now, there are some CEOs who I think possibly, I'm not, people get mad at me for saying this, but I shouldn't even say it now. I'm not a socialist. You know what I'm saying? People get mad. I'm not. I think some CEOs might even be underpaid, bro. I think Tim Cook, when he took over in 2011, Apple was $13.46 a share. Now it's $177. Most of the growth in Apple has happened under Tim Cook. He's made some important decisions. If there was a strike at Apple and they wanted to cut his pay, I'd be like, okay, maybe he's not the problem. But if I'm looking, except for until I saw him do that Mother Nature commercial, and now I do think he's overpaid. Now I do think Tim Cook is overpaid after I saw that, but before I was kind of on his side. But I looked at Mary Barra, and this is the stock of GM over the past 23 or 13 years when they went public in 2010. So they went public at $34 a share, and now 13 years later, it is down $1. So if you'd invested 13 years ago $1,000, you'd be down to what, like $960. You'd have made no money. Completely flat. So it doesn't seem like her $28 million pay is tied to performance. And in fact, I wanted to find exactly when she became CEO. She became CEO on January 10th, 2014, when the stock was 40. So over, 9 years of her job as CEO, the company has decreased in value. She has done nothing of value for this company and yet demands higher and higher pay packages. They keep growing 30, 40%. And she seems to think it's galling. The workers are asking for 34% wage increases at the same time. And so I have found this pattern play out across many companies. A great example is Unity. Unity has just went through, I want to talk about it in a separate video, but Unity is making absolutely dumb decisions to try and make money. Everyone knows that Unity sucks. Oh, ads fucking kill me. Kill me! Fuck, dude. Right in the middle while I'm fucking cooking? While I'm Tim cooking? Ads? All right, it's 1 minute left. Are you a socialist yet? Madge, down with the ads. Yeah, David Zaslav's pay versus the stock. Bro, exactly. If you look at David Zaslav, if you look at, again, the CEO of fucking Corsair, if you look at Unity, Unity is making incredibly dumb decisions to try and make money because they're losing money. But why are they losing money? Look into it, and it's like they're spending hundreds of millions on executive compensation. They're not paying, they're actually laying off devs, but they are paying their top management hundreds of millions of dollars. And it's like all of the money in these companies is kind of being milked out by senior management. And it doesn't seem like they're worth the cost that is being paid. And no one's seeming to point this out. No one's pointing this out. We're back on that. So that's my, we're back again. So that's my point, is that I think workers are starting to notice across a lot of industries that like the CEOs are not these innovative super geniuses that deserve like huge chunks of the company's wealth because they're not doing that much. And I don't think, and I think most people would agree, if you were to replace Mary Barra with like, a competent manager from the factory floor as CEO, that it would tank GM. I don't think it would. I think GM would do fine. I think it might even do better if they had a worker as CEO and it didn't cost, tens, hundreds of millions of dollars over 5 years. And so I think people were asking about that and they want to split it up. So again, as you can see here, since 1978, CEO used to be like 20 times the average worker and they were considered rich. The economy still worked. We were still in a capitalist society, but CEOs only made 20 times the average worker. All right. They still were richer than everybody else, but not like, mega yacht rich. They were like nicer house, maybe a nicer car, and now it's 1,460% higher than the average workers' compensation, which has stayed basically flat for 30 years as costs have gone up. And so that's a problem. I think that's a problem that again, this summer and this past year, really, people kind of woken up to and started to address. We've had like so many increases in labor movements to try and counterbalance, I think, just the stupidity of paying so much for these executives. That being said, there is a bit of pushback, and I want to give a win to this guy. I'm going to give a win to this guy. His name is Tim Gurner, and I want to give a win to just doubling down on being the villain, bro. Let's listen to what he had to say at the Financial Review Property Summit.
I think the problem that we've had is that we have people decided they didn't really want to work so much anymore through COVID, and that has had a massive issue on productivity. Tradies have definitely pulled back on productivity. They have been paid
tradies
to do not too much in the last few years, and we need to see that change. We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40, 50% in my view.
40, 50%.
We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there is a...
He wants unemployment to jump 40, 50% to remind them that they work for the employer, not the other way around. He wants like Great Depression era unemployment so that you can, force people into the worst and lowest wage contracts.
There's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them. as opposed to the other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy, which is what the whole global, the world is trying to do. The governments around the world are trying to increase unemployment to get that to some sort of normality. And we're seeing it. I think every employer now is seeing it. I mean, there is definitely massive layoffs going off.
That is true. It's happening.
Talking about it, but people are definitely laying people off, and we're starting to see less arrogance in the
Arrogance is a crazy word.
To continue because that will cascade across.
I mean, you think of that woman in the previous clip who's just talking about working there for 16 years and has $1 more than her mother did when she retired. She's so arrogant, bro. Like what? The arrogance. But the reason I'm giving this guy a win for this absolutely cartoon villain level speech is that this is the guy. This guy, Tim Gurner, is the guy in 2017 who I believe first said, stop buying avocado toast. He's the guy. He's the avocado toast guy. I mean, this guy is a fucking legend. He's a legend, dude. I gotta tip my hat. When real recognize real, bro. This guy been spitting facts forever. We gotta get unemployment up, and you gotta stop buying avocado toast. These are the ways for average people to get back. Yes, I do believe his wealth came from his grandfather, and he's got like $445 million. But he understands. He understands what it takes. Speaking of people that got wealth from their parents and understand what it takes, let's talk a little bit about Elon Musk, because the real winner of these strikes, unfortunately, is Elon Musk, as he has a non-union workforce. And that is no accident. Elon Musk and Tesla have a non-union workforce, and they're competing against the Detroit Big Three, who do have a union workforce. He has no union workforce, which is no accident. Again, Elon Musk has done a lot of things to try and make sure unions never come to Tesla factories. Specifically, he was cited by the Labor Review Board for this tweet, where he said, he basically threatened, nothing is stopping Tesla team at our car plant from voting union. Could do so tomorrow if they wanted. But why pay union dues and give up stock options for nothing? So this is considered a threat. And they found it as a threat, and they find him as a threat. The idea is that, like, you're basically saying, hey, you won't get your stock options if you do unions, which is, that's a threat. I mean, it's threatening that they'll be paid less if they sign up for a union, which shouldn't be allowed. Our safety record is 2x better than when plant was UAW, and everybody gets free out there. So this tweet was cited, and he got fined for it. And also, this thing about nothing is stopping Tesla team from voting union, could do so tomorrow if they wanted. In 2018, that may have been true, but recently it did not seem true, because when they tried to unionize at the Gigafactory, they fired dozens of workers, all of whom were associated with the union. So it's it seems like I don't think he actually believes that they should be allowed to vote for the union. I mean, he's been trying again and again to stop it. And that's funny because, again, you'd think this situation with the UAW strike, he would be on the side of the strikers because they are handicapping his competition. But in fact, he is more scared about the labor movement doing well and spreading Tesla factories. So he has been trying to handicap them however possible, including something as petty as revoking the paid blue check from the United Auto Workers. He literally took away their blue check when they started striking against its competitors. And then had to be, after a report called him out, he had to take it back. And also he banned pro-union shirts in his factories. Now, I actually have no real problem with the current pay at Tesla. And I think they do something interesting, which other companies don't do, which they have stock options for regular factory worker employees, which is cool. But that being said, the only way that Tesla pay comes even close to UAW pay is as long as Tesla stock stays super high. Because if Tesla stock ever dips, Tesla pay is actually shockingly lower than UAW pay. So it's very precarious. And right now workers are fine with it because of the stock options being good. But if it were ever to tank, there's going to be some kind of reckoning because they're actually paid substantially less. So interesting comes out of Tesla. Now, I wanted to talk. Yeah, so that's what's going on with Elon Musk. And again, I think the larger reason that we've talked about, that everyone here is talking about strikes, that strikes have become such a big thing, is because I think you and I and everyone else can see that prices on things continue to rise, especially with housing, especially with food, especially like prices continue to rise, and people, if they're getting paid the same, eventually something's going to break. But an economist named Paul Krugman, who's a famous economist that's been giving kind of pointless speeches and articles for the past 30 years. My entire life, I've seen Paul Krugman articles. He's been wrong about so many things, but he put out a tweet saying, inflation's over, an inflation update. In the past, I have focused on a measure that excludes lagging shelter and used cars, whereas food and energy. So he made an inflation chart that is consumer price index, removing food, energy, shelter, and used cars to show that it's down. Inflation's over. What a good chart, bro. As long as you take out those 5 things, inflation is down to only 2%. We've did it, America. Let's fucking go. Thank you, Paul Krugman, for letting me know. I have nothing to be mad about. I don't know why these workers are striking. Inflation has been largely defeated. It's like a mission accomplished banner. Now, because I'm stupid, I'm not as smart as Paul Krugman, I looked into it and I noticed that the average monthly household expense in the United States is mostly housing, transportation, and food. Look, 3 of the top 5 things. 78% of our budget goes to these things, but I'm sure that doesn't matter. So I decided to learn from my genius and realize that things are actually even better than Paul Krugman says, based on my new Atrioc patented CPI chart, which is called CPI X food, energy, shelter, used cars, water, sewage, education, phone, pet care, clothing, hygiene, insurance, entertainment, healthcare, gas, subscriptions, groceries, childcare, fitness, recreation, tuition, taxes, expenses, etc. And by this metric, inflation has not only been decreased, it's been completely defeated. We won, America. Your dollar is safe. Your savings are safe. We are good. USA #1, dude. And I know that today's Marketing Monday has been, I wouldn't say cynical, but it's, there's been more tough news lately as inflation has been eating out of people's, in 2021, this is a lot easier because everyone had a ton of money and it was mostly making fun of tech companies. But in 2023, things are a little different and the news is shifted a little different. So I wanted to give an honest win. I want to end the American segment with an honest win. And that is that a few days ago, I talked about ERC fraud, employee retention credit fraud. And I actually interviewed someone in my chat who worked at one of these ERC fraud companies. Basically what it is, I don't want to spend too much time, but it was a tax credit called the ERC tax credit that Congress created during the pandemic, where companies could get huge checks from the IRS if they promised to keep their employees hired. That's the basic idea. And you'd expect in a normal world that there would be a huge spike of companies doing this around the pandemic and then it would taper off. But in fact, it started normal during the pandemic and has exploded in 2023 as it's become more and more riddled with fraud. In fact, most of the people applying for this are companies that were started after the pandemic. Like, people are creating companies in their garage, pretending they have employees, getting a huge check from the IRS, and then dissolving the company. I mean, there's the rampant fraud. And all of that has been largely driven to rich people that know how to do this scheme. And so you've seen rich people do remarkably better in the last half of 23 because there's been like $30 billion a month has been funneled to ERC fraud. Finally, after public pressure, that is closed. The IRS basically went to Congress and said, hey, we're pretty sure all of this is fraud. You need to close it. And they did. So it's closed. So they're going to, and because they are no longer overwhelmed with the deluge of new requests, they might actually investigate some of the previous requests and get the money back or, this will never happen, but put people in jail for committing fraud. So yeah, I know this is not the biggest deal in the world, but for me, I have been so annoyed with this ERC fraud, which has been like nobody talks about it. And it literally is billions of dollars every month just to fucking scammers, people that have no moral fiber and assume the government will never catch them. And it frustrates me. And I get ads for it all the time. and it's just really annoying. And so to see it shut is like one step of nice progress. So I just want to give a win. I think it's cool, and hopefully it's step in the right direction. In funny news, you might have seen this today. The United States lost a jet. They just lost it. There was an F-35. A guy was flying over South Carolina. He ejected, and because it's a stealth jet, they couldn't find it. And so, no joke, they went on Twitter and asked. They just said, hey, we can't find our jet. Can you help? Here, I'll watch a quick video.
Search is on now for the missing F-35. They don't know where it is and are asking the public for help. Publicly available flight data shows sled flying over Lake Moultrie near Charleston. If you know anything, call Joint Base Charleston at 843-963-3600.
Now, this is the latest and greatest fighter jet that has been in the works for 10 years. Is extraordinarily over budget. It's been spent, billions, trillions of dollars on, and it's just lost. They just lost it. And so the memes came in on Twitter. They're pretty funny. Losing an F-35 because the pilot put it on autopilot before ejecting and then not being able to track it because it's too good of a stealth fighter is possibly the funniest fuck up in modern military history. That's good. There was a Craigslist offer. For sale F-35 jet, best offer Charleston. Great condition, one's great, only one set of keys. That was pretty good. But the best one was when the only man who's really up to the task got on the case, and that is Rambo, who ratioed Joint Chief Charleston by responding that he would be the one to find it. I'm sorry, did I say Rambo? Rainbolt, dude, I'm so Minecraft pilled, I'm sorry. Maybe Rambo could find it too. Sorry, I'm part of the dream community. I'm not gonna not say Rambo, bro. You know what I watch on YouTube, bro? 24/7 Minecraft. Rainbolt. I'm sorry, Rainbolt. Put his trademarks there on and said he would look it down. And then my estimation is that because it landed in South Carolina, the only person who can really find it is the mob boss of South Carolina, and that is, of course, Mr. Beast, who probably has already found it and is gold plating it as we speak for an upcoming video. Now, the real question that I'm more concerned about, because I think they actually did find it about an hour before stream. They found it as a pile of debris. So they found it as a pile of debris. It is dead. It's a wreckage. So that's -1 jet, which cost, millions of dollars. Not a big deal. I think the bigger question on what's missing is the the 10 years and 80% of the budget that has been spent on this fighter since 2013, which is when it was supposed to be done. It's a $100 million jet, but that's not as big a deal as the $1.7 trillion that's been spent on it so far, as it's now 10 years late and 80% over budget. They got nothing on China. Great question. Great point. Speaking of China and speaking of jets, that brings us to our next segment. What's up, Beijing?
Namaste. Namaste.
Fuck, that's India. You better be saluting. What is up in Beijing indeed? Turns out also military jets, specifically 103 of them that just flew over Taiwan less than 24 hours ago. A new high in activity that Taiwan is calling military harassment. A new PB. They're just saying hello. Now, I actually do not have much more to say on this because at the end of the day, this has happened in some form or the other for years. And it steadily gets more and more escalated, but as far as we know, nothing's going to happen. They just keep threatening, and then the United States or one of its allies will ride a fucking aircraft carrier through the strait, and then China will do more military action, and they'll both just keep standing off. But it does seem to be escalating. The numbers keep getting bigger. The rhetoric keeps getting more intense. We don't know much more about it. But I really wanted to use this as a segue into a much more interesting story. Again, war, okay, kind of boring. What is more interesting than war? Not only in China, but in the world. Live streaming. I am much more interested in live streaming, which I think is the topic of today's Was Up Beijing. You see, live streaming is a massive, massive industry in China. And mostly it is used for direct sales shopping. People, I mean, you've probably seen this on TikTok because they started to roll it out. It's where you just look into the camera, talk about products, and then you sell them live. You can see them. It's like QVC. Yeah, it's like exactly like that. You talk about products and people can buy them right beneath you. So you talk about how great they are, how much you like them. And then people who are really good at this, who are personable and the chat likes and are good at selling, can make extraordinary fortunes. So $500 billion in goods was sold via live stream on apps like Douyin and Kuaishou. I'm not trying to say it. In last year in China. And people, again, as we've heard in previous Was At Beijing's, youth unemployment in China is at all-time highs. And so the number of people in China who are trying to try non-standard careers like live streaming is also at all-time highs. People are all trying to do it. And I found this very interesting clip that was hitting LSF recently of Jake and Bake walking down one of these so-called live stream streets where people all are live streaming on the same street. No, we'll just watch it.
Whoa, what are you watching me on? Oh, that's her thing. So on Chinese apps, guys, they often have the built-in filter, and so that's why. 哦，谢谢你们点赞呢啊！你可以帮主播就是关注一下啊，谢谢点赞啊，谢谢。
谢谢关注，谢谢点赞，谢谢刷礼物的宝贝。She's mocking your accent.
你在说我中
Look at this guy.
Oh my god, you got 3 phones. My man's got
6 consoles.
3 phones, one for the stream, one for the stream, one for the YouTube. 这个是你在
抖音
哦，这是抖音，这个呢？
这个是微信，
微信这个呢？
这个是快手。
快手 Whoa, he's streaming on 3 different apps, same time, 3 phones, boys.
Get on his level. This guy's streaming on 3 different apps. Again, each one of these apps, by the way, has bigger audience than Twitch. Each of these like Twitch type competitors, TikTok competitors, has more active users just in China than Twitch does globally. China has been ahead of the live stream game for a while. And a lot of the innovations they do in terms of shopping are all being shipped over here. And it's extremely popular about career choice. And I want to talk about it. I mean, again, students are more and more choosing to do it. And in fact, this is a billboard advertising live stream shopping classes as like a way to learn how you can become a live stream shopping personality, which again is probably a grift, right? Yeah, of course. We have those. But the story that was interesting this week was this guy. Speaking of people that are out of touch, this guy is, his name is, let me get his name, Li, I think Jiang. Let me make sure I'm saying it right. Jiagi, I'm sorry. Li Jiagi, also known as Austin Lee. And he is known as the Lipstick King. The Lipstick King of China, because in one day he sold $150 million of lipstick. This guy went on live streaming and pitched a new type of lipstick and sold $150 million in one day. So they called him the Lipstick King. He is the most successful live stream shopping salesperson in China. And he recently had a live stream where he was trying to sell it was like an eyeliner or something. I want to know what it was. It was an eyebrow pencil. I'm sorry. He was trying to sell an eyebrow pencil. And this is the clip, okay?
怎么起来的我巨好用，花西子越来越贵了，哪里贵了？这么多年都是这个价格，好吧，不要睁着眼睛乱说，国货品牌很难的。哦，而且花西子真的不是那种随便买原料就做的品牌哎，我跟花西子跟了多少年，他怎么起来的我是最知道的一个人。是啊。 他们就差点把他们家掏给我了，差点花西子信里了，好不好？真的乱说，这么多年都是79块钱，哪里贵了？买1只送2个替换装，
很划算，79。
So we'll go into a little bit. This guy makes 695,000 USD a day. I mean, for some of these streams, he's making nearly 700K USD a day, and is getting mad at his audience for calling this $11 eyebrow pencil expensive.
你要不要帮我画吗？
有的是找找自己的原因，好吧？这么多年了，工资涨没涨？有没有认真工作？好不好？
And says sometimes it's because of yourself. Maybe your salary hasn't risen for
认真
years.
工作，
Did you work hard enough?
好不好？这么多年都是这个价格，我真的快疯掉了。来吧，让华老。
Anyway, you can see his assistant not a little, a little nervous about that. Caused a huge backlash. And he had to go live and apologize the next day. I mean, the amount of comments was insane. He lost a couple million followers, which again, he still has millions more. But and on the top comment on his apology post was very interesting. It said, "You're making money out of ordinary people, and now you turned around saying ordinary people are too poor." If I earned $685,000 a day, my tears would be much more sincere than yours. So anyway, it's just interesting because while a few in live streaming have become massively successful in China, it is sort of a chased dream by millions more who are trying to escape high youth unemployment and not too much success. Now, last part of this I just found that was interesting was I've heard this guy's name before. And I remembered a different story that we had before we did Was Up Beijing. So I looked back and found it, and it was the same guy. This is the guy that I think 2-3 years ago had a live stream that was like the day before the anniversary of Tiananmen Square. And his assistant had, I truly believe this was not intentional. He had a tank-shaped ice cream. Okay? No, I thought this might be like some kind of base reference, but it turns out, as far as I could tell from everything I looked into it, like it was like a complete accident. But because it could be considered a reference, again, this is like probably actually not even one, it was like 2 or 3 days before. He disappeared for 3 months. Yeah, like the second they did this, the broadcast cut off halfway through, and then this live streamer, who's the most famous in the country, disappeared for 3 months for showing this tank-shaped dessert. And what was hilarious about it is that most of his fans, young, mostly female fans, had no idea about Tiananmen Square and only learned about it because they researched it because they wanted to figure out why he disappeared. So it's like a total backfire. It's like a total backfire. Anyway, he reappeared 3 months later, completely didn't mention anything about it, went back to work, and he was fine. But it was it was interesting. And I just thought that was an interesting story about what's going on in China. And I do think that, like, if you look at trends in American social media, we are behind what they are doing in China. And I think we are only in the early phases of like a wave of online shopping and also possibly rising youth unemployment, what that means. So there's something to be learned from this. And that is up to us in future episodes of What's Up Beijing, because that is the end of today's Marketing Monday. Thank you for watching. Tune in every week for more marketing and business and geopolitics news. Signing off. Thank you very much. Big one today. A lot of stuff, but I hope I got through it. Hope some of that was interesting to you. What will I sell? Dude, there was a guy. I was researching for that story. I always have to cut more than I want. I think I might try doing one Marketing Monday where it's like 3 stories. That's it, and I just go in. But there was a guy in China who, I don't know, he puts on like a funny hat and sells beef jerky. And he started really small, and he just kept growing and growing and growing. And now he owns his own beef jerky factory. He just eats beef jerky every day in a funny hat and talks about how great it is. And now he moves like $15,000 of beef jerky every day. And that sounds fucking awesome. And so if I want to do that, and that's what I'm going to do if it ever comes here in a major way. Do it with pretzels. Oh, you like Wetzels? Anyway, if you have any questions on that, answer. If not, we're going to chill for a bit, vibe, and then watch House MD here around 10. Because I'm excited to relax and watch House. Ponzi scheme video is done researching. Officially locked. Billary Squinton is working on some animations for it. I'm trying to make it fancy. Listen, I have no knock. Who's the iceberg guy? Windover? No. Who's the iceberg guy? There's all the icebergs. Windigoon. No knock on him, but maybe I have a zoomer attention span, but I don't like just the whole thing where it's a guy like staring straight in the camera and just reading. So I'm trying to add like footage, and I'm trying to make it like fancy. So that's what I'm trying to do. He's good. He's amazingly well researched. I think he's great. He's the GOAT. His videos will always get more views than mine. Okay, I'm not knocking him. For me, I want footage and I want like little animations and shit. So that's why I'm waiting. Ads? Oh, it's fucking playing ads. Well, perfect timing, I guess. I did not look into how does the UAW strike compare to SAG after? Does it have a better chance to succeed? Yes. So the UAW strike is going to succeed in some fashion. I'm like almost certain, because it's only been 2 days and the CEOs are already offering like pretty close to what they're being asked. Like they're already doing it. It's so much more close than the actor strike. So I think at worst they're going to get like, I don't know, 20 to 30% pay bumps. And some of their stuff, I mean, like they're just a lot closer. Like the studios and the actors and the writers are so far apart on their demands, but the UAW ones are closer. I think they will reach an agreement. I don't know if they'll get everything they're asking for, but I think they'll get an agreement, and I think it'll be good. It'll be good that they did it. You don't know what was your hype chat? Hey, Big A, how did you fall in love with reading/learning? It's hard to build that habit for us Zoomers. What I did was I watched One Piece every day. And then I was like, I want to learn more about this beautiful world. So I started getting into the manga. And that's where you really find more of like what makes Luffy such a great character. And for me, that was the beginning of a lifelong obsession with reading and learning. No, I think if you find stuff you're interested in, it's really easy. Also, I would recommend, I think there's like a stigma against audiobooks. Audiobooks are based as hell. I don't use them, really, unless I'm on a trip. But like I know some people who just cannot buy a book and read. I don't think there's a big fucking difference. I mean, a book's a book, bro. Audiobook it or not. And a lot of people are much better at getting into it if they audiobook. So I would try that. I mean, there's some cool shit in books. I sound like a fucking youth pastor, but there is. And so just like try an audiobook if real books aren't working for you. You need to focus on audiobooks or you'll lose parts. Yeah. I mean, you can't just like turn it on. I mean, I think everyone's trying to find a way to passively absorb knowledge. And it's like, you can't, there's no trick. There's no trick where you can just passively, you can't just like put a book on your skin and it goes in. You can't just like turn on something and not pay attention. And then Tearzu? Hey, Tearzu, thank you for the Prime. Love the content. Good to see you. Where's the battle report? We might have something cooking. Listen, I got to be honest with you guys. I'm going to tell you guys straight up. I know there is hot demand for the battle report. I do get it. But if the battle report every week is basically the same joke, which is that I assign him something and then he doesn't do it, and then I go, "Oh, Dr. Battle, what are you doing?" I think you might get annoyed. You might get mad at it. You might leave comments to me that are like, "Hey, what the fuck is this?" So if I keep it special and we have a fun idea and that That might be a better way to do it than like just every single week I do the same. Did you see notoriously? Yeah, it's notoriously not like your community to latch onto a single joke. True. Who am I talking to, bro? Who am I fucking talking? We should just do we should play the same clip. We should do the Prigozhin one again. Fucking 40 times. You guys will laugh the same as if it's no different. And I'll sip a big coffee while I do it. And we'll forget the marketing. I'll just do a video of me sipping coffee and fucking we play the same clip. And then it'll be fucking... do you have any plans to bring back Advice Atrioc? No. I mean, no plans currently. But what I am bringing back this week is Bring Your Streamer to Work Day. So if you have an interesting job and you want to talk about it, we're doing it on... Wednesday or Thursday. I forgot what I said. Does it matter? Wednesday. We'll do Wednesday. Yeah, on Wednesday. So if you have a job and you want to be interviewed about it, come to the stream on Wednesday. We're going to be talking to chatters and asking about stuff and learning and, finding about cool, interesting jobs out there. Resume review would be boring as fuck. It actually was super funny. You're not an old head. Old heads remember we did resume review with Slime and with an actual recruiter from Riot named Brian. And it was funny and it was sick. It was mostly just roasting resumes, though. Like using the resume to figure out what kind of person it was and then roasting them. It wasn't really helping, but people had a good time. What really sucks, we never got a video of it because I didn't have editors at the time. Help Tierzu? What did he want? Tierzu wants help with his resume? Yeah. Any tips for a first-time home buyer? I feel like YouTube has been extremely good to me, and yet affording a house this decade still seems impossible. Do you realize how fucked the economy has to be if Tierzu can't afford a house? Isn't that fucking crazy? This guy's got millions of views. Are you... I forget. Are you based in Australia? What country are you in? Are you in Canada or Australia or... Are you in Canada? Oh, you don't have to dox. Never mind. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. It's not really a dox. Know your country, though. What country is Tierzu from? I just want to know. Oh, you're American. Okay. Well, I wonder what part of America you're in. Because I mean, those countries are worse, to be honest. If you were in, like, Sydney, I could see even being, making, fucking 800, 900 grand and not being able to fucking buy a goddamn house. I don't know, man. I find that, I do think housing prices are out of control, but I think you should be able to get something if you got, based on what I know of YouTube revenue. I mean, this is amazing. You're crushing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you should be able to get a fucking house. Read the fucking chat. Let me see. He's in Madison. Yeah, I assume that you can get something there. But maybe you're looking for certain, I don't know, you got a family thing, you want to get certain size or whatever. But I would say this, man. I don't want to reveal this too early. I've been working on a video. And in fact, I had a call. Dude, it was the first, I don't want to say this. Fuck. I'll just tease it. I'll tease it. I've been working on this solo, not really with anyone else. I had somebody reach out to me after I mentioned offhandedly some stuff I'd heard about fraud in real estate. And somebody who's pretty high up, who knows people high up at realtors and brokerages, who reached out to me and confirmed a lot of what I'd been hearing and gave me more concrete. It felt like a fucking Big Short moment, to be honest. I was at a call. It was like a 45-minute to an hour call where I was asking so many questions, and some of what I heard shocked me. I truly feel like a lot of the broad numbers we see are very massaged, and there is a huge incentive. Like, I don't want to go into it because I think this is going to be a video, but I'll say one thing. For like 2020 to 2022, boom time era, everybody going to markets like Florida, Texas, whatever, houses popping up everywhere. As you guys may or may not know, companies like BlackRock bought a ton of homes. They bought a ton of homes. It was like if you were an average person trying to buy a house, you had to compete against an all cash offer from BlackRock. And now, for some strange reason, perhaps sensing that prices might be soon to fall, BlackRock and companies like it have become net sellers. They are selling more than they're buying. And they are still proclaiming that things all look good. They're telling everyone that things are good. But it feels to me like they are trying to get ahead of what I think is, in some markets, a pretty serious storm of like prices that are unsustainable and houses that are, there are many, many vacant places that aren't listed as vacant. So that's what I think, and that's my thesis, and that's what I'm studying. And if you know more about it or you work in the industry and want to talk to me, please feel free to DM. I will happily take your call. I'd love to ask further questions. But I have been building a case on it, and I want to talk more about it. And so that's what I'm, anyway. So what I would say is, if you are buying right now in a hot market, I would be careful. To be honest, I would be careful. And again, what the fuck do I know? But I'm just telling you, everyone will tell you two things. They'll tell you prices always go up. So don't worry about it. And they'll tell you, marry the property, date the rate. Which is basically saying, yeah, your payments are going to be super high right now because interest rates are high. But don't worry, they'll be down before you know it. They'll be down in a second. And you'll be able to get your payment way lower. And they say that to make sure you buy. You take on the debt, you buy it. And then they don't really follow up with you. They don't care. And if that doesn't happen and rates are higher for longer, then you're stuck with a huge payment that you might not be able to keep. And if unemployment does rise, what the fuck are you going to do? So all I'm saying is listen, nobody knows. If anyone tells you they fucking know exactly what's going to happen, they're a fucking liar. All I'm saying is there's more to it than I think what a real estate agent might tell you, whose only incentive is to get you into that fucking house. Sounds like a lot of bad loans. Yeah. Yeah, that is my estimation, is that there is. And also, like, bro, this scale of the Airbnb bust is underreported. People are not talking about how much Airbnb traffic has declined, and people that have bought all of these Airbnb homes on debt and cannot fill them to pay the mortgage is higher. A lot higher than is being said. Eat shit? Yeah, of course. I mean, I think these people are not. But here's what's. If you own a house and you bought, let's say Tirzu goes out and buys a house for $1.2 million, okay? And his neighbors, 3 or 4 of them, bought that house for Airbnb purposes. And then all of a sudden they can't fill it. So they have to start dumping the house. The prices will collapse all around. You know what I'm saying? So suddenly his $1.2 million house is worth $800K, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So people that are buying right now are the ones I'm most scared of. People that's most at risk. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying we need prices to come down, to be honest. I'm just saying be careful. That's what I'm saying. Be careful. Make sure you're searching a little bit for a deal. Sounds like Big A is a housing hater. Listen, Tirzu, here's the thing. End of the day, you make great content, and if you're going to live in the house for a long time, don't stress about it too much. I'm not trying to. Don't make your decision based on me. I'm just telling you what I've been hearing honestly. My honest opinion. I have no stake in it. That's what I honestly think. So keep that in mind, and that's it. Okay. Now we're gonna watch House MD here in 10 minutes. If you have any other questions, I'm totally down to answer them. I'm gonna get drinks and snacks pretty soon. Some real estate crash wouldn't be a bad thing. It definitely would not long term. Listen, dude, a bubble deflating is very painful in the short term. But first of all, it's more painful to the rich who own most of the assets. And it is necessary long term for anybody to take part in the economy. If you are a Zoomer with no assets, you are never able to afford property or stock to like grow with the economy. You're not participating in the growth. You are an outsider making only wages while all the growth goes. Like, if there isn't some sort of deflation in the fucking massive asset bubble, then we become feudalism, bro. It's everybody who has a rich boomer parent that dies. Otherwise, you can't get money. That's the world we are in if we do not deflate asset prices in some way. It's not painful to the rich. The rich will absorb it. The only way the rich absorb it is if, as what happened in 2008, the government steps in, prints $1 trillion, and uses it to basically buy asset, pump up asset prices, which they did. And they may do again. You know what I'm saying? That's the playbook. But the cost would be so much more extreme this time around. So it remains to be seen. We're going to start House here in 9 minutes. So as a person with rich parents, what's the most beneficial way to kill them for their assets? I don't know if I should answer that on stream. I prefer the clown fart. The clown fart and a chandelier. Here's what I've noticed from playing. I have thousands of hours of Hitman. If you put your parents under a chandelier and then shoot the chandelier and it falls on their head, the police will say it's an accident. And they'll not investigate. All guards nearby will say that's an accident, and like within fucking 5 minutes, they'll carry the body bags and be on their way. So that's probably my best suggestion, is a chandelier. If the economy does crash, interest rates for houses remain high, making it difficult still to buy a house. Well, first of all, a high interest payment, like a 7% interest payment, but on a much lower cost of house, is not such a bad payment. If a house costs $400,000 or whatever, and you got 7% mortgage, that's fine. Whenever the house is inflated to $800,000 or $1 million, and you have a 7% mortgage, that's when the payments get huge. Do you know what I'm saying? Like back in the 80s, interest rates were as high as 18, 19%, but boomers could still buy houses because the actual cost of the house is way lower. Now we have the worst of both worlds. Right now is the worst housing ever, which is huge interest payments and a huge base cost of the house. Right now is the worst it's ever been. Like ever. Like there has not been a worse time, I think, in like American history for like a regular person to buy a house. It's worse in Canada, but I'm talking about in America. The worst it's ever been yet. Actually, it can't get much worse because wages haven't gone up enough. People can't afford. See, what happened right now is that like over half of America that has a house is locked in to like a 2 to 3% interest rate that they got back in 2021 or earlier. And so they don't want to move. They actually can't move. My parents have this. My parents thought about moving to a different house in Arizona, but they can't do it because they're in a mortgage that's like 3% low payment. And if they move and they sell their house, even if they got a good price for it, whatever house they'd buy next would go to a 7%, 8% payment. So the payment would like double. So like nobody can move. And that is why, like, if you're a realtor, get a new job. I don't want to be mean, but if you are right now like studying to be a realtor, I would say be very fucking scared, because it doesn't, right now the number of transactions happening in real estate has dropped to nothing. I mean, people can't buy and sell houses right now. Nobody wants to sell and nobody can afford to buy. So like you only make money as a realtor when somebody buys or sells a house. So unless you're really good, and like, there's a few markets. Again, what's weird is America has a lot of different varied housing markets. I'm talking about in general. So just bear in mind. But is it the same for commercial real estate? Commercial real estate is different, and commercial real estate's kind of dope because the average family doesn't get hurt. Commercial real estate is like office buildings that can't get filled because nobody wants to work in offices in big cities as much. Like there's just so many office buildings that are empty. And the losers there are just banks and rich people. So it's kind of hype, though it probably will lead to some sort of bailout, which is cringe. Anyway, we're 4 minutes from house. I'm answering any last questions. Studying to be a realtor? You mean a 1 week course? Dude, chill. Chill. Okay. All right, you know what? I'm playing an ad. Everyone gets snacks. No, wait. We can wait 1 second. Because I'll do it for... what do realtors even do? Like they sell a house, like they'll like do the open house, show everyone the house, do the walkthrough, talk about it, find somebody interested, explain why it's cool. They just handle it. They're like middlemen. Yeah. But yeah, people hate on middlemen too much because nobody wants to do the work usually. So there's something there. It's like, I think middlemen for a lot of businesses should exist. Sometimes they get paid too much. Are they necessary? I don't know. If you own a house and you want to sell it, you have to find a buyer, right? Maybe you aren't good at that. Maybe someone's better at that than you. They should get paid for that. I don't think it's that crazy. The problem is like we have too many realtors. America has like a fuck ton. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I have it in my stats, but we have a fuck ton of realtors and we can't support that many realtors because there's no houses being transacted. I need to blow my nose. That is not a euphemism for cocaine. I just need to blow my nose. It's stuffed. But I do know that realtors and the loan people, like Quicken Loans people and Loan Depot, and they'll all tell you that don't worry about it. I know your payments are high right now, but interest rates are going to go down any day now, and then you can refinance and get a lower payment. And they are talking out of their ass. They don't know better than anyone else. This could happen, could also not happen. And if you can't afford the payment when you get it, don't do it. If you cannot afford whatever payment you're getting whenever you take out the loan, don't be like, it'll be fine, it'll go down. That's dumb. Why do you think interest won't go down? No, I think they probably will, but you don't know when. Listen, anytime there's like economic, not collapse, but like a recession or anything in America, interest rates down to zero, everything. They're going to do that. I just don't know when. Okay, guys, I'm playing the ads. I'm going to get a snack and we're going to watch House. So please, let's vibe, let's chill. Let's fucking make fun of a insane illegal doctor. House MD time. Smiley face. Oh, Fuck. It doesn't even let me run the... Oh, yeah, I can. I'm running it. All right. I'm running the ad. I'm going to play a song. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Oh, you know what I'm going to play? I'm going to play SpongeBob. I'm going to play Glorb songs, dude. You get to enjoy that if you're subbed. We're going to play fucking the most popular one, The Bottom, and then STD. Here it is. And I'm going to get a snack.
Do you wanna die? 'Cause I'ma take your soul back, baby, on the reaper. Keep it to the side. I got Karen acting breeze, but she touching on my wiener. I'm a really nice guy. I'ma say your hair first, like it's really nice how me turn. They call it crab pie, 'cause he came at the bottom with a stick, it went deeper.
All this money that we made, I'm smoking kelp to the face. I skip the fence like I'm next, stick long as a clarinet, so these hoes wanna play. Deep web browsing, pills by the thousand, lean, sipping, squeal up on Jolly Range Mountain. The real bitch slam of the credit card scam. Oh, they call me big, but the way I'm handling my hammer.
Do you wanna die? 'Cause I'ma take your soul back, baby, on the reaper. Keep it to the side. I got Karen acting breeze, but she touching on my wiener. I'm a really nice guy. I'ma say your hair first, like it's really nice how me turn. They call it crab pie, 'cause he came at the bottom with a stick, it went deeper.
Did it like a Edison and popped it like a light bulb. I am not Brazilian, big Jaja when his eyes closed. Fucking up a Karen, put my charger in her iPhone. Had it sucking dick like she tryna give us some lipo. It's a light show. This is a nice pole. Set him up, anyone lock him down. Line him up like it's a motion. We gon' make him strip it down like.
Do you wanna die? 'Cause I'ma take your soul back, baby, on the reaper. Keep it to the side. I got Karen acting breeze, but she touching on my wiener. I'm a really nice guy. I'ma say your hair first, like it's really nice how me turn. They call it crab pie, 'cause he came at the bottom with a stick, it went deeper.
Okay. Good timing. Good timing. Wow. $182 billion snack war is heating up. Wait, banned. Why am I banned? We saw some crazy shit. I'm so sorry. I forget which one is the bad one. That was probably it. It was probably some kind of bikini bottom sex. I apologize. Squidward killed a man live. Yeah, they get pretty fucking crazy. I think the craziest one was STD. Itching for the cash. Like, I got an STD and it's plankton. That shit's insane. Big A, when do you think there'll be a Great Depression that had to stick with a picnic blanket attached for 3 years ready to go? Bro, wouldn't it be fun? Wouldn't it be kind of fun if we all banded together and we had a little Great Depression and we all like move west or something? We have picnic blanket bags and we sing folksy songs. We get the bindle. We can get soup. I would be out in the corner saying, extra, extra, read all about it. Yeah, you could be the newspaper guy. I'll learn the banjo. Think of all the Hooverville camping shenanigans. Yeah, we could do that thing. We could all do that thing where we like are on a farm and then like a banker comes up and he's like, you lost your land. To who? The banker. Or the bank took your land. And then you're like, well, I've had this land for 3 generations. The bank can take it over my dead body. And then they get the sheriff and they bring it in and then It'll be fun. All right. House time.
Bitch of a door abs. Young enough to die and original the foot. Yeah, came from the bottom, baby. I'm not getting stuck. We should lean by the leader like what. We should lean by the leader like what. Yeah, cooking cake crab on the stove with a formula. We been a bikini generator. Sipping on the leany while I'm leaning on the passenger. Pumping up a crust like paparazzi almost every more. It's like it's Biggie versus Tupac, it's no biggie, I smoke 2 packs, my shit is told, it's a new track, I own the city and they knew that. I'm eating burgers made of like
All right. It's no biggie. I smoked 2 packs. It's pretty for Plankton. From Plankton, from Bikini Bottom, the show. All right. That's Dankton. Shut the fuck up. Don't get me into the lore. I'm not eating girl dinner. I'm eating cereal out of a mason jar like an adult. This has, like, they say you can tell how many, like, balanced food groups and vitamins you're eating by having a lot of different colors in your food. Excuse me. It's a rainbow in here, dude. I got everything. You eat everything out of a mason jar. All right. Make fun of me, I guess. They made fun of Jesus, too. Remember that. And he turned out to be 100% right about everything, so